You guys asked me to take a look at Lola Cloud Gaming, so let's do that today. Coming into this, I had never heard of Lola before. This is quite a useful place to look at the service from. No preconceptions, no outside influences, just my own thoughts based on what is presented to me. The website for Lola is well made. It scrolls nicely, is responsive, which seems to be getting rarer in 2025, has those lovely flowing pictures and text, but most importantly, actually does a decent job of telling you what Lola is. According to the site, it is a cloud PC. So this is more in line with Shadow PC than a service like GeForce Now or xCloud. This means you have to choose a PC build that suits your requirements and pay for it. It also means you're getting a lot more than just gaming with this service. Because you get a full cloud PC, you can do word processing, web browsing, engineering drawings, artistic drawings, live streaming, video editing, gaming, video streaming, spreadsheeting. Essentially, anything that you can do on a local PC, you can do on Lola for a monthly cost. That cost, however, is high. We're talking £7.99 per month for the basic access here, a tier of pricing that Lola call Lite. That tier comes with a 128GB hard drive and 4GB of RAM. I'm not sure if that setup is even capable of running the Windows operating system. The Windows 11 operating system on my ASUS ROG Ally, as an example, takes up 190GB of SSD space. But that take is a bit disingenuous. The figures on the site for the different tiers are what you actually get access to. So you will have a full 128GB of storage available to you for that £7.99. Lola is also upfront with what that build is capable of doing. The Lite option is essentially the boomer PC. Now, as a guy with boomer parents, I say this terminology with both knowledge and great love. Lite is as basic can be. It's for simplistic office processing such as Word, PowerPoint, etc., internet browsing and YouTube videos. The exact way that my parents actually use their home PC. The challenge that Lola faces with that setup is that you can get an entry-level phone for the same price as a year of use. At that price, it will be an Android phone. And that means you get Google's Office Suite included, along with Google Chrome and YouTube by default with that phone. And that phone, under those use cases, will last that particular person 5 or 6 years. Like this 2019 Samsung Galaxy A40 that I have here has done. That is then saving that type of user over £480 if they use that phone instead of Lola's Lite Cloud PC offering over 6 years. A tough sell, therefore, at the entry level. But what if we move up the tiers? What if we take on a gaming-capable rig? Does the value of the service then justify the price? Well, the gaming tiers have many options. However, most of the differences in those options boil down to what games or PC Store apps are pre-installed. As these pre-install rigs increase your monthly cost by £3 per month, they really are not worth the cost for the 20 minutes that it would take you to achieve the same thing on the cheaper rig. That cheaper rig is £29.99 per month. This is where things get interesting, because there are 2 versions of that rig, a US version and an EU version. However, they are not parity offerings. For some reason, the US gets 2 extra gigabytes of RAM than the EU, 32 versus 30 respectively. Now at that level, in 2025, 2 gigabytes of RAM for the vast majority of users isn't going to be noticeable. If a game isn't running well on 30 gigs of RAM, it's not going to make a difference adding a mere 2 more gigs. In that same vein, if it's already running well on 30, 32 isn't going to make any form of noticeable improvement. But even with understanding that, the fact that a European player, such as myself, who would want to connect to the closest server to minimize lag, has to pay the exact same fee as another server but get less for the money isn't a great first impression. And it gets worse when you look at the other options under that gaming title. No matter the build, they all connect to New York. Lola offers 17 options of gaming PC, including a BeamNG build, which is SteamOS levels of performance. But only one is available on a server outside of the US. This means for the vast majority of the world, lag is a major and serious concern before any money has changed hands, just because of the distance between the user and the server. This means for my testing, I only have one option. I have to take the European build. You may notice, however, that there are drop-down boxes and a customize button to adjust your service to your requirements, so let's see if we can improve the situation. For me, that base 100GB of storage is not going to be enough. Why the gaming tier has less storage than the light tier is baffling, but I digress. I want to use Destiny 2 to test this service. It's a first-person shooter Twitch reaction title that I have thousands upon thousands of hours experience in. Because of that, and the fact that this game is available on nearly all cloud gaming services, it is a great measuring stick for Lola's performance off the jump. The game, however, is over 150GB in size, so I'm going to need to increase my storage before jumping in. That customization is easy. Hit the big blue button and select your preferred options from the drop-down boxes on the new page. To ensure that Destiny 2 can install, the smallest possible storage space I can select is 250GB. By selecting that, the monthly cost of the build increases to £32.99. Unfortunately, that's not the end of the customization. Much like the horrific choice made by GeForce Now in 2025, Lola also places limits on your use time for that monthly charge. And by default, that's 40 hours. Now, 40 hours of a pure gaming service can see people through a month. But 40 hours of a full PC can barely see people through a week. Especially if you use it for what it's advertised as, a full cloud PC. And I would look to create this video entirely on Lola to really test it. So I want to up that usage allowance to a realistic level. But the next level that they offer is more than double that 40-hour limit, all the way up at 100 hours, the same as GeForce Now. Do you want to see what selecting that level does to the monthly cost? Well, here goes. Oh my! £66.99 for 1 month. That is more than double the originally advertised £27.99. That is an astronomical level of cost for a service such as this. I want to be a little blunt and transparent right now with you, and it's about the cost involved here. Now, I don't mind purchasing these types of services for a month or two at a time to make these sort of videos for you guys. I actually really enjoy the process. I enjoy learning about them, putting my thoughts down, and relaying the information to you guys so that you don't have to do this research and part with the money yourselves. But to do that, I have to pay for them out of my own pocket. That's why there is such a big gap between updates on these services. I have to be able to afford them. Now, I don't have sponsorships on this channel yet. I do have affiliate links in the description below, so if you want to directly support me, you can do so just by buying something you were already going to buy. And there are some discount codes down there for certain things as well, if you want those too. Now, I do have channel members who pay for exclusive access to certain videos and early access to all of these long-form videos. But most of my money comes from advert revenue here on YouTube, just from people like yourself watching my videos.
When that is all totaled up over the course of a month, my take home from doing YouTube barely surpasses the cost of Lola for a month. In fact, there are times that it doesn't. You need to make £60 in revenue to get paid by YouTube. And in August 2025, the month before this video comes out, I didn't make that much. So I won't get paid now for YouTube until October 2025. And that's only if the revenue that I make from YouTube in both August and September goes above that £60 limit. Now, the reason that I am telling you this is simply to give you some context on how expensive the Lola Cloud PC service is. For me, it would mean going outside of my YouTube funds and dipping into my real life personal funds to actually pay for it. And with that in mind, I'm not exactly thrilled at the prospect of spending £67 a month on this service, which means a paying customer has probably already closed the browser and walked away, because that price appearing on screen is just too shocking.
This is especially true when you consider that saving that much money per month for just 6 months would then allow you to buy this, an ASUS ROG Ally. 8 months gets you a Lenovo Legion Go. In 12 months, you'd be very close to the leaked price of the new Xbox ROG Ally X. And once you've bought that hardware, you can do the same as Lola and not have that monthly outgoing. Whereas Lola's cost continues to climb month on month thereafter. And very quickly, you'll be beyond the spend of a powerful desktop gaming PC while still paying month on month. Lola is an operating system behind, using the now unsupported Windows 10 instead of Windows 11. It is using a 40 series server graphics card, which means it's a generation behind there too. And let's not forget, I'm getting less RAM than the US-based systems. I'm yet to actually go hands-on with Lola. And already, I have encountered what feel like insurmountable challenges that will prevent me and many other people from actually using the service at all. The first impressions of Lola are awful. This tough pill to swallow isn't made any easier by Lola's access options. For example, if you went over to the competitors like GeForce Now, they offer free access. GeForce Now offers a completely free-to-access tier. Now, yes, there are heavy caveats on that in terms of play session length, in terms of watching adverts, and so on. But if you wanted to, you could go to GeForce Now and try it out completely free of charge for as long as you want. In fact, I know people who only game on GeForce Now's free tier. It's the same sort of thing with xCloud, with PlayStation Plus Premium, with Amazon Luna. You take any of these other cloud options, barring Shadow PC, and you can get a free trial period. And most of them offer you a week. What this free usage will do is convince you if you want to spend more money on it or not. If you want to spend on those higher level tiers to gain more access with less caveats upon them, and more bonuses such as 4K visuals or 240 frames per second. Or even just continue to use a good service. That trial is vitally important. You need that try before you buy on a service that is so reliant upon internet access, server ping, and lag. Because there's no point in a consumer paying £67 for a service if it's going to be a terrible experience for the course of that month. But Lola do offer a free trial. The problem is, that trial is exactly 1 hour in length. It's meant to convince me, or any other paying customer, that Lola is worth the cost. So I should probably start that 1 hour trial. Before we do though, I do have some concerns. Let's start off with the length of it. The 1 hour trial period, even before going hands-on, I don't think is enough. If you take, as I will have to take, the European option, so that I minimise lag in my service, the 1 hour means I'm having to set everything up on the PC. So my entire time in this trial period could be spent just setting up the PC to be able to use, and in an hour, I may not even be able to complete that. Am I even going to be able to play a game? My hopes are to keep it simple. I'll log in, install Steam, download Destiny 2, and get maybe 45 minutes worth of gameplay. But even if I do manage to do that, is 45 minutes of gameplay in a single session on a service like this enough to say it's worth putting more money down on it? Let's be honest, with any cloud service, you can have vastly different experiences in service from day to day and session to session. One can be flawless, one can be terrible, in the same house, on the same internet connection, and the same access devices. You need a much longer time frame to be able to know if a cloud-based service actually suits your requirements and performs well in the majority of the time. I'm not going to know one way or the other if I don't try it though, so let's hit that 1 hour trial button and get started with our European PC build. When you click that trial button, or when you click on the option that you want to choose if you're paying for the service, you then have to wait for the PC build to be provisioned and assigned to you. Giving Lola the credit they deserve, once that provisioning is complete, you will receive an email from them to say that your PC build is ready and you can start using the service as you so fancy. This is good service. I wish they outlined that this was the case prior to you attempting to access the PC build to prevent you sitting there clicking on said PC build you're trialing and nothing happening. Now, I chose to use this service on Android, and the reason I did that is that I feel somebody in a mobile ecosystem is more likely going to be the sort of person who wants a full cloud PC build available to them without the cost outlay of a full PC. So I used my Android tablet, a Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. Lola made me download the Android app for use of the trial. I'm okay with this. I often much prefer native Android applications. They run better, are much better built for the ARM architecture of the chipsets within, and a bunch of other positive reasons to go via this route. So I downloaded the app, installed the app, logged into the app, then tried to click on the PC build that was now provisioned for me. And it asked me to download another app for this to actually work. Why this isn't all built into the one application, I don't know. But I downloaded the second app for Lola Moonlight streaming, clicked on Start back in the Lola app, and this then opened the Moonlight streaming app, and I gained access to my PC finally. Now, as you can see from the image of my tablet here, I have a keyboard and mouse attachment for it. This means that I can use the tablet in a similar manner to a PC or a laptop. It's got a trackpad, it's got a full QWERTY keyboard. Lola PC, however, would not accept my trackpad inputs. What I had to do initially was use my finger on the screen to drag the mouse around and then tap on the screen to click. Now, with this tablet I do have the S Pen included, which is a fancy Bluetooth stylus with some additional utility. This was able to act like a mouse. It acted much like the Surface Pen does on Surface tablets. So I started using that pen to navigate around the system. But if I was on any other tablet without a fancy stylus, this is an immediate barrier to entry. This is my first use of the service, and I'm already encountering niggles. I haven't even got to trying to install anything yet. Heck, I haven't even got to the desktop yet. Another niggle I face is the resolution. Legitimately, this was hard to read on my 14-inch tablet screen. I thought it was a settings issue, so once I did get to the desktop, I jumped into the settings to up the resolution. But upping it from 860p to either 1440 or 4K somehow actually made it worse. At 4K, it was legitimately unreadable. This is a major problem, Lola. You don't have a custom user interface. You have a Windows user interface. And if your users cannot read and interact with that interface, no matter what else you do or offer, your entire proposition is null and void, because they can't interact with it. Now, thankfully, I managed to faff and get it into a readable scenario, which then allowed me to open Chrome, download and install Steam, then start downloading Destiny 2. And here is past me explaining how that Destiny 2 download went.
So this is me sat here waiting for Destiny 2 to install on this
1 hour trial that I've got, and like I say, I want to use that game because it's the one I've got the experience in, it's the one that's on most cloud gaming services, and it's the one that really shows how good a service is. But if I just angle this camera down and show you my screen right here, it's at 47% downloaded, which doesn't sound bad, except for the fact when I come up here to my screen recording, 18 minutes and 50 seconds. So that is taking up a third of my trial time just downloading the game. If it continues at this same rate, it's going to be 40 minutes before the game is downloaded, and then I'm going to get 20 minutes actually playing it. And this thing says it's downloading at 500 megabits a second. Now, I've downloaded this game onto my ASUS ROG Ally at that exact speed, well, slower speeds recently because I've been having internet issues here. And I have downloaded that game in less than 20 minutes. So this figure here has got to be a lie, to be downloading a 150 gigabyte game and only being 48% complete the 20 minutes. This isn't acceptable. This isn't good enough for a trial period if I'm spending most of my time waiting for a game to download. I'll see if it goes any further, but it may be a case of I've got to pay for a month of it and see how we get on from there. But all of the first impressions of Lola are incredibly poor. At 37 minutes, it's installed it. And now we've got Battle Eye that needs to install. So let's go install here. I accept. Okay. Yes. Are we actually going to get a launch into the game now? That would be great. Launching game. Okay, okay. At 38 minutes exactly, it's deciding to try and launch the game. So let's see how it goes. 40 minutes. 2/3 of the time that I had in this trial was spent waiting for a game to install. A game that should have been installed in less than 15 minutes given the displayed download speeds. I therefore only had 20 minutes to see if the service was actually worth the incredibly high costs we spoke about earlier. But 5 minutes later, my 1 hour trial period was terminated, a quarter of an hour early. I don't think this is acceptable. Lola are trying to convince me to use the service. They are trying to convince me that that £67 price point is worthwhile. Yet, in the process of trying to convince me, not only do I feel like I've been lied to about download speeds and general performance of the service, my trial has then been cut short by a quarter. How is that meant to convince me to use Lola? How do I know that they're not going to do the same if I pay for access? I could easily pay for those 100 hours and then lose 25 of them because Lola's mathematics can't keep up. The fact that there was lag and stuttering in the game doesn't matter at this point. I am fearful of being ripped off. It's made worse by the fact that they sent me an email stating the time at which my trial would end. My end time was 1:02 p.m. After 5 minutes of trying to regain access, I was reading this email at 12:53 p.m. and my trial PC had already been deleted. I've got less than an hour's experience hands-on with Lola. But between that and the experience leading up to using it, I've encountered exactly one positive thing: the website itself. Through the experience of the trial, the only thing that Lola has convinced me to do is wash my hands of it and walk away. Lola isn't worth a second thought. It's far too expensive, needlessly restrictive for that cost, unreliable, and given my experience, a bit of a scam. This video was produced after attempting to sign up for Lola Cloud PC. Theotech do not know that this video is being made. They do not get any copy approval or early preview of the contents of my review. If they do see it, they will see it for the first time, right alongside you. If you've liked this video, I think these will also be of interest to you. In the meantime, my name is Doragon. You can find me sparingly on socials at Doragon86, in the community tab on my channel, or daily in the Discord in the description. And until next time, folks, have yourselves a fantastic day, and take care.